What's up, everybody? First off, my voice is very, very bad right now. I'm just getting over a cold, and I'm not going to sound that great, so you might hear a little bit of sniffling and maybe a cough here and there. Hopefully not. I'm going to try to get through this pretty quick. I just finished The Curse of the New Kid, number 10 in the Shivers series, and I'll say right up front, this is the first book that I've read in a very long time that actually gave me nightmares. And I'm not ashamed to say why. Let's start off with the cover. The cover's amazing in this. I love the sky with the lightning and the weird trees and the weird little guy going up the stairs. You can't even tell what he looks like, but this looks really, really scary. And the cover doesn't do this book justice because this is one of the best Shivers books like out there. Like, it's no secret because everybody says this book is really good. I don't think it's perfect, but it's pretty close. The story starts off with this kid named Luke, I think, yeah. And Luke moves all the time from school to school, and he gets bullied, constantly tormented by all these kids. They throw food at him, they beat him up, they steal his shoes, and his mom is this like editor for a fashion magazine, and so she gets all of the new clothes as soon as they come out, and he gets to wear them first. So that puts an even bigger target on his back. And long story short, he just gets bullied, like, all the time. They take his clothes. He's in this, like, gym class. And they steal his clothes, and they hang him up on this, pole. And, he sees them or whatever. Like, it's ridiculous. The teachers in this book are even worse, just about, because there's one teacher, I think, named it's a principal named Mr. Preston. And he's bad, really bad. There's a coach named, I don't know what the coach's name is, but he's the same way. Like, both the teacher and the teachers and the kids all in this book suck. I mean, you want to see something bad happen to them, and bad things do happen to them. One day while he's getting bullied, he's on a school bus. And something just kind of changes. He says that he wants, he hates them. He wants something bad to happen. He gets off the school bus, and the school bus closes on this kid that's bullying him. It closes on his hand, and it, like, crushes it. Like, and it's written very graphically. And after that, certain things like this start happening. There's a scene in the lunchroom where this kid is bullying him, this another little nerdy kid, and he takes a French fry and sticks it in his ear. Just stupid stuff, bullying even more. And the kid eats or whatever. He walks to his table. He gets sick, and you probably guess what happens. Yeah. Different things like that happen. There's a kid that trips him, and he gets up with shoelaces untied. He trips, hits his head on the table. And while I was reading this book, I was wondering, I was like, what is the dark point of this book? Because, some of that was pretty dark. At the very beginning of the book, which is something I don't agree with at all, you should never do this, but the kid wants to stay home from school because of getting bullied, and he tells his mom, he's like, he thinks that he has cancer, so he can't go. And I was like, is that what the dark part is? Because that's pretty rough. But no, we haven't even gotten to the dark part yet. The dialogue is pretty dark. The coach calls him like a sissy and different things like that, which, whatever. Towards the middle of the book, there is a scene with the coach and there's this little chubby kid, and they have this race to see who can touch the rafters on the ceiling, and they have this little rope hanging down, and they do this little, like, climbing rope thing, and they have a race, and this coach is, like, ridiculously crazy, like, fat shaming this little kid, and it was really hard to read. I was like, Jesus, and eventually the new kid, Luke, he ends up losing to this chubby kid, and something happens, and I'm not gonna say what, but it leads to a death. And after this cuts to one of the scariest scenes in any of these books that I've ever read. They're in this cemetery, and they're having a funeral, and somebody dies, of course, and or you think so. And as you're reading this, this feels like a lot like something that, like, as I was reading this, I was like, this feels like something Stein would write, but it would be a dream sequence. All right, but during the scene, like towards the end of the chapter, he starts hearing whispers in the wind, and they start talking about like he was the one that caused this person to die. It's his fault, this and that. And then then he hears whispers, like, this is no lie, that the whispers say, you're going to burn in hell, you're going to rot in hell. And I read that, and I was like, this is crazy. I had to double check myself. I was making sure I was reading the same book, because that's a lot for a knockoff Goosebumps book. This is ridiculous. This is not for kids at all. I don't recommend a kid reading this. I'll start with that. Maybe 30. Like, it's bad. So yeah, all of this weird stuff starts happening with these people getting hurt, and he notices, like, the teachers and the lunchroom lady and the bus driver, they all have these weird grins on their faces, And so he's like, there's something going on, like he's doing this. And eventually this book leads to where all of the kids are scared of this guy, And there is a Simpsons episode. It's a Treehouse of Horror, some of my favorite stuff to ever watch, but it's based off of a Twilight Zone episode. And it's the episode where Bart has these powers where he can turn people into different things and stuff like that, and everybody's just terrified of him. And this reminded me so much of that episode. And it gets really good. The only thing that I think slows this book down from being perfect, the writing isn't perfect. This is M.D. Spencer. Like, none of the books I've read so far has even been close to perfect. But this was good writing. The cemetery scene was really, really good. And really scary. That's what I had a nightmare about. But the only thing that I didn't really like was what was I gonna say? The only thing I didn't like was the thing where he jokes about having cancer. I didn't like that. That's just me, though. I don't think you should do that. And the other thing that I didn't like is, well, I'm gonna say I didn't like it, but I also did like it. Is the ending, because the ending somehow it works, and I don't know why, because it's an ending that I don't like in any of these kind of books. It's a typical ending, and I hate it. But in this book, it works, but it only works because this book is so dark that you don't want it to be that what could have happened. What could have happened in this book is far worse than what actually happened. And yeah, like towards the end of the book, there is a scene involving his parents. And I was like, I was reading and I was so engaged. And I was like, oh man, I hope this doesn't end this way. And not in a way that it would make the book bad. I mean, it would have made the book bad, but it would have been more sad than anything. And then we get the actual ending, and I was like, okay, so that's great, We don't get a lot of answers to what's going on. And I was hoping that we would have. That would have been nice, but I preferred that ending over what could have happened. If you read this book, you'll know what I mean. As far as rating goes, I went back and forth on this because that ending kind of slowed it down for me. But the more I thought about it, I was like, that does work a little bit better for this book, and it made it a little bit happier. So I'm gonna give The Curse of the New Kid a 4 out of 5 stars. It's not perfect, I don't think, but it's really good. It is as good as people say it is, I think. Definitely one of the better books in the series. If you want to read something that's going to push your boundaries and it's very short, pick up this. It's really great. This isn't a hard book to find. I got it off Thrift Books for like $4. So, yeah. That's my review of The Curse of the New Kid. 4 out of 5 stars for me. What did you guys think? Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you. Bye.